Hi guys, and welcome back to another video. My name's Destiny. I don't know what that was, and I do book things here. Today we're going to talk about Into the Drowning Deep by Maya Grant. I wanted to do a full review for this because I absolutely loved it. I love the rep in it. This book took me a really long time to read. I am going to give you some stats about it. And then we'll get into my thoughts. So this novel is actually, my copy is 438 pages long. I finished it on December the 12th, and I loved it so much. So I'm gonna go in to spoilers later in this video, and I will make sure to put a flashing thing that says spoilers. But this book follows Tori. Her name is Victoria, but Tori's sister was on an expedition to make a mockumentary. So not really a documentary, but more of a mockumentary. A mockumentary is like a mocking of a documentary, where the group of scientists find mermaids, and they go out to the Mariana Trench to make this mockumentary and stumble upon real mermaids. And before the entertainment company can put a lid on it, the government can put a lid on it, somebody leaks the video of said mermaid attack. Everyone, of course, in this day and age, because this is written like current day, so everyone in this day and age thinks it's fake. They're like, oh, it's just good, good it's just really good prosthetics, it's just really good effects. Like there's no way this is real. Tori has spent her life afterwards trying to prove that mermaids are real, that what her sister went through was real, what that video was real. And so the entertainment company, about 7 years later, decides to send out another boat to find said mermaids. And they hire all these scientists and are documenting everything, trying to make it as transparent and as real as possible. And they obviously asked Tori to be there as well. She is a star in her field of her own, but she is also the sister of one of the victims that were on the first boat, so they think it'll give them more credibility, more understanding if she's there. And so of course Tori agrees, and shit starts happening. So they get to Mariana Trench, they think everything's okay, and it's not. This is definitely a body horror. There is blood and guts on the page. There's a lot of trigger warnings. I highly recommend looking up the trigger warning for this one. But I gave it 5 stars, and I absolutely loved it. I loved, like I said in the beginning, I love the representation in it. One of the characters, she is actually the, face for the documentary. She's in front of the camera. She does all the interviews, all of that. She's actually doing what Tori's sister was supposed to do on the first expedition. Her sister wasn't a scientist. And so she has autism, and she talks about her autism very openly and transparently, and I absolutely loved it. It gave me such joy to see it written on a page. She stands up for herself. She gets access to the boat early so that she can scope it out and know what she's dealing with beforehand. Her cameraman is there helping her every step of the way, and it's just so well done. I felt that all the characters in this one was very, very well fleshed out. They all have their own distinct voice. Sometimes when you have a whole cast of characters like this and there's a whole boat of people, a lot of them can start to sound the same, and if you're not reading the name, it kind of takes you out of the story because you're not sure who's talking, who's doing what. But that was not the way with this one at all. Handsome. Sorry, my fluffy cat that usually stays outside all the time is in the house because Texas is closed. And he has decided he wants loving. So, I'm sorry. But, hi, handsome boy, you big old boys. They all had distinct voice. And then, so clearly if you read the back of the book, you know the mermaids are real. I loved the personification of this novel. There's so much that she actually personifies in here. The mermaids, oh, that was great. Sorry, my power just bleeped. Give it a minute, baby. I have to wait for it to load. No, Bubba. No love. No kisses. Lay down. Lay down right here. Mama will love you. Lay down. So at one point you see through a dolphin's point of view, and like she writes, from their point of view. Another time you actually see the mermaid's point of view, and you see their motivations and why they're doing what they're doing and what's going on. It's so good. I actually am not going to talk spoilers in this one because I don't think it's needed to do this book justice. Okay, so as I was saying, not only is the rep great, there's also a masterful use of suspense and of horror like elements, because the whole time you're reading, you know that they're real, you know they're coming, but you don't know when. And so there's just like this buildup of what the hell is going to happen next? Who the hell next is going to die? Like, what is going on? And then there's the scientific side of it as well, where they're actually learning more and more as they're going along. And it gives you chills, because you'll figure something out like maybe a second before the characters do. It's not like you're left in the dark, you have no clue what's going on, you feel stupid. It's not one of those at all. Not only does it have autism rep, it also has deaf rep. I'm sorry if I'm saying that wrong. There's another terminology for that. Let me know. I'm sorry if you hear the babies in her crib. She's supposed to be taking a nap. We usually watch Coco to take a nap, but our power just bleeped, so we have no internet, and she's a little upset. But so there's deaf rep as well, because two of the scientists that are on the trip with them are deaf, and their sister, who is hearing, interprets for them. And I love the fact that when we switch POVs pretty regularly, and it's not like a chapter by chapter thing, you just switch kind of randomly. And we are with we are in the POV of the deaf scientist a couple times, and I love how she, in her head's like, they never even tried to learn sign to communicate with me. Like, they knew they were going to be bunk with me for months. They could have learned some basic signs to communicate. They never did. They're never aware of me. They like to treat me like I'm a piece of furniture. Like, she has those grievances in her head and actually voices them, and I love that there's not a wall there. There's a transparency that this book has that made me want to read more. My first thought when reading, I was less than 100 pages in, and I thought to myself, this reads like a really good horror movie. And I'm not usually a horror movie kind of person, but this reads like a really good horror movie. There's not any jump scares. It's more of a suspense on the edge of your seat kind of thing. The only thing that bothered me, my one con with this book, was that there was no real timeline. I wish we had a clear... There was a timeline, but you couldn't place it as a... How do I explain why? There was no time assigned to what was happening. So you didn't know if this scene took an hour, if it took a couple minutes. You didn't know. And I think it would have added to the suspense if we knew how much time was going by, like blatantly, transparently stated, okay, this happened at 4. Now it's 5 o'clock and this is happening. Now it's 7 o'clock and this is happening. I think it would have built that suspense a little bit more, for me at least. And it would have helped. I was trying to see, because I have my notes in front of me. Like I said, the personification of the mermaids themselves, getting to be in their point of view and learning their motivations behind everything made this even better, because you can see this murderous creature and think they're not smart, that they're not sentient. I think that's the word I'm looking for. Aware. They're not aware of what's going on. They don't have minds like we do. Yes, they can communicate, but so can cats. Like, my 2 cats are sitting here with me, can communicate too. Where when she flipped that around and put us in the POV of the mermaid and kind of sunk us in there, you got to see that this is not like 2 cats communicating. Like, they have full minds. They know where it's going on. They can plan strategy. They can be smart and inventive and like plan. They're not just after murder. They're thinking this through. This was very much a example of beautiful and masterful writing, in my opinion. It was hands down one of the best. I wanted to close this review off with a few quotes that I absolutely loved. None of these spoil anything, but they're just quotes that hit home for me, and so I wanted to give them to you. So the first one is, this was a thing about the future. It didn't wait. No matter how hard you tried to run, it always caught up with you in the end. The next one, the oceans were deep and slow, and for them all the change had happened only yesterday. The seas did not forgive. They did not welcome their wayward children home. Now, this book was written before the Wayward Children series. Myra Grant is also Sean McGuire, and she also wrote the Wayward Children series. So that quote and the next one I'm fixing to give you both gave me Where the Drowned Girls Go vibes totally, and it made me view that book and what that particular character went through a different lens, and changed my point of view and outlook on it, because it was so good, and it made sense of why she's the way she is. And the next one is, the ghosts of the drowned girls forever doomed to haunt the restless sea. Like, she makes it sound, it's just so lyrical, but not to the point where you don't understand what's going on. The next 3 quotes are just ones that personally I related to. The first one is, everyone I've ever dated has made the first move. They say I am interested, and I go along with it. Sometimes even when I don't really want to, just because I'm impressed they can be so brave. I don't always understand. I mean, signals are hard, especially about something like this. People don't say what they mean. They say things that live in the same neighborhood as what they mean, and then they look at me like I'm stupid because I don't pick up instantly. I'm not stupid. I'm just not that specific kind of smart. That quote made me feel seen in a way I didn't know I needed. I remember reading it and just tearing up and just sitting there with it for a minute, because it was like, yes, that. Not everyone's the same specific kind of smart, and it's hard when you're not the same kind of smart that other people are, and they just expect you to get it, and you don't, because you're not that specific kind of smart. And then the last one is, she'd seen humans ignore things they knew could simply be. She'd seen humans ignore things they knew simply because they could not be where they are. this one had me in a chokehold because I think, I don't know, it made me think about humanity as a whole, because we will walk, if you ever walk by something and you just don't see it because it's not supposed to be there. Like, your brain literally ignores it because it's like, no, that can't be there. That's not there because it can't be there. And it was just this view of, wow, that is so true. This book was my 96th of 2022, and it happened to be one of my favorites. I am so happy I read this. I will do a reread because honestly, it's just thebomb.com. If you never picked up this book and you thought about it, I highly, highly recommend. I also recommend her Wayward Children series. I've not read any of her other adult series, but I do recommend Every Heart a Doorway and all of those. I do highly, highly recommend those. I recommend this one for sure. This was definitely a 5-star read. So if you never read this book, I highly recommend picking it up and giving it a try. And I will see y'all in my next one. Bye, guys.